Hi, this is James with Hammer of the Gods Software, and today we're going to be talking about getting quickly started in the Goalie Rebound Tracking application. The app allows you to record your goalie's rebounds, the quality of those rebounds, and then be able to use those benchmarks in order to improve their puck possession. We're going to go ahead and start the app. As you can see by the splash screen, the app was inspired by FuturePro Goaltending School's Rebound Control Efficiency benchmark, which allows the tracking of and the reporting and creates a benchmark for the quality of rebounds that your goalie is producing during a game, and then gives you an insight into where you may or may not need improvement in that area. So, within the application groups the games that you're going to track the rebounds for your goalies in seasons. So, that way, if you're having a regular season or a spring season or a summer season, you can kind of group the games that you're recording for those respective seasons and kind of keep the information collected that way. So, to start, we're going to create a season so we can start recording games by hitting the plus sign in the lower right corner, which I'll do now. Doing that will present you with a screen to name the season, which I'll just name as regular season. And then you can provide the start and ending date for the season that you're recording. In fact, this season, being at a regular season, will start in September. I'm going to tap on the ending on, where I can now choose for the ending time that it's going to end in February of 2021. Once you've got your two dates set, you can hit the Add Season button, and that will create the season within the app. You can now select that season to begin adding games to the application. So I'm going to select the season. As you can see from the left-hand side, you've got the name of the season that you gave it, and of course the time frame that we specified. On the right-hand side, you can see the number of games that you've recorded within that season. Currently 0. Having selected that season, now you have an opportunity to add a game to this season. And as the text suggests up top, we're going to press the plus sign in the lower right corner in order to create a game. Just like before, when you try to add a game, it will ask you a few critical pieces of information. In this case, for the game, we're going to start with the game at, which I'm going to tap on to select, and then tell it that the game I'm going to record is today. It's an early-ish game at 8 a.m. Hit the done to add that to the information. Now we're going to select the team. I'm going to tap on the team field. And in here, I have a team that I already added within the system. If you need to add a team, which you will when the app is brand new, you just tap in the text box up top and you can add the name of a team that you're playing for. After adding the name, just hit the plus symbol. That will add that team to the list, and now you can select from these two teams that you're playing on at any time when you're creating a game. So for today, we're going to select that we're actually playing for the Colorado Select team, and that brings us back to the creation of the game screen. You can indicate whether your team is the home or away team by using the home or away button. Just toggle those two options as is appropriate. And then you can select the opponent for the game. So I'm going to tap the opponent field. And again, I already have an opponent here, as if I was playing Highland Hills. I'll go ahead and do the same thing as you did with a team. If you need to add an opponent to the system, which you will, of course, at the beginning of any season, we're going to add in the Tigers, who we tend to play, in the text box, and hit the plus sign next to the text box to add them to the list to make them selectable. And I'm going to go ahead and select the Tigers. We're going to play against them. And that adds them to the initial game creation. Now that's the minimum you need to enter in order to create a game. There are some additional fields. As you see in the group beneath it, the tournament field allows you to indicate if a game is part of a tournament. So if you're in, let's say, a regular season, but you're having a tournament weekend, you can indicate that this particular game that I'm recording is part of a tournament by flipping on the it is a tournament field. And once you've turned that on, now you can actually specify the name of the tournament. And much like the team and the opponent, when you select the field, you can create and add tournament names to the system so that you can record that this game is part of a tournament. And using this feature allows you to later, when you're running trend reports and getting stats, if you're playing tournaments that are very different than your regular season, then you can exclude the tournaments from the trend reports and simply have the season data, season reports simply reflect only those regular season games, not including the tournaments. Or you can choose to include the tournaments if you do. It's up to you. But that's how that feature is utilized if you choose to use it. The game I'm going to record today is not part of a tournament, so I'm going to keep that turned off. The information below it is input by the system when you finalize the game. You don't have to enter anything for the finalized game info. You can also choose which season. If you have multiple seasons and accidentally started to create a game within the wrong season, you can actually change that here with the season field. You can select it. It'll show you the list of available seasons, and you can assign this game to that particular season. Right now I'm in the regular season, and that's good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and start this game by hitting the Create button in the top right corner. And after you create the game, it will initially throw you right into the game tracking screen. On the left-hand side will be the rebounds as you record them. And I'll go through the individual columns once we get some data there, because then it'll make more sense. Moving a little bit more to the right, we start with the goalie. You can indicate the goalie that is currently playing. You can also then indicate which period you're recording these rebounds for, and then, of course, the giant buttons indicating the kind of rebound that the goalie has performed during the game. And this is where you'll be recording for every save that they make and in goal, for every shot on goal, basically, what was the quality of that rebound that the goalie had made. Just to the right of the period field, up near the top, you see a little blue eye. This is the information screen that'll give you the details as to the 5 types of rebounds that you're recording. I'm going to go ahead and tap that eye now so you can see the screen. And it breaks down a definition for what is considered a possession, what is considered a corners, what is considered a square rebound, what is a weak side, and of course a goal, which you know. It also indicates the point value that each of those kinds of rebounds are assigned, and that's used as part of the rebound control efficiency benchmark that the app is tracking for you, in addition to all the standard save percentage, goals against, goalie benchmarks that you're very familiar with. I'm going to go ahead and close this screen. So that way, when you're using the app for the first time, you want to refer to what was a corner, what was a square, you can bring that up, refresh your memory, and then get back to tracking what's going on in the game. At the bottom of the screen are the real-time stats. So as you record rebounds during the game, you'll see the shots, the rebound score, the save percentage, and the RCE being calculated for every single rebound you enter into the system. So I'm going to go ahead and act like I'm in a game right now, and we're going to enter in some rebounds. First, of course, you'll want to select your goalie for a game. If you don't have any goalies in your system, then you'll go through this much like the team and the opponent screens before. You tap on the goalie field, it'll show you a list of any goalies you've already entered into the system. If you need to add a new one, just hit the plus sign. This time at the top right, and it'll give you a screen to where you enter in the goalie's first name, last name, their jersey number, and their catching hand. And then you can add the goalie as you feel. This goalie, Olivia, she's wearing the jersey 33. She's a regular hand. You would add the goalie. And you can see now Olivia is available to be chosen. Just select the goalie that you wish to record for the game. I'll go ahead and select her. And that's the goalie now that you see being recorded. Rebounds are being recorded for. At any point in the game, if you're on one of those, if you're on a youth team where you have multiple goalies on the team and they rotate them throughout the game, either by period or halfway through or whatever happens, if a goalie gets hurt on your team and the backup goalie needs to go in and play, all you have to do to record the stuff on that new goalie who's entered the game is just simply change the goalie in this screen, and now all the rebounds for the game are being recorded against, the new rebounds are being recorded for this goalie specifically. And I'll show you that as we progress. So we're going to record some rebounds for Olivia. It's all ready. The system will default to the first period when you've created a game, so you don't have to choose that. But when the periods do change, you can tap on that period field and you'll see you've got the first 3 periods, up to 10 overtimes, and of course a shootout is available to be chosen, so you can indicate when within the game those rebounds are occurring. So I'm going to go ahead and record some rebounds in the first period for Olivia. Possession, corners, square, weak side, corner, square, possession. So now let's talk a little bit about those columns on the left-hand side for the rebounds. The first column is the period in which the rebound is recorded. The second column is the shot on goal number. The third is the rebound control, the type of rebound control that they've exhibited. And as you can see, the possession, corner, squares, it all lines up with the information related to the rebound control efficiency, and of course the jersey number of the goalie who performed that particular rebound. So let's go ahead and say, we've entered the second period. We're going to tap the period field, select second period now. Everything we tap is being entered in the second period. And you can see how that's indicated in the period field and the rebounds. And you can see, if you've been watching while I'm tapping the various rebound types, that the save percentages, the RC, the scores, and the shots are all dynamically updating as I tap. I'm going to hit a square, I hit possession, and oh no, they've got a goal. So now let's demonstrate quickly. We're going to go now to the third period. And let's say Olivia got tired, so they're going to put Rebecca in. So now we're recording these rebounds on the third period. Now, one thing to note, when you do have multiple goalies, these stats at the bottom, by default, it's going to default to the all-game goalie, which is all the rebounds occurring across the game, respective of which goalie actually produced the rebounds. However, you can swipe left and right to see the individual goalie stats for this game. So if I swipe left, you're going to see the first goalie that was in the game, Olivia, number 33. She faced 18 shots, and if you look to the left-hand side, you can see kind of where we started. It was the 19th shot that we started recording things against Rebecca. Her rebound score was 46. She had a save percentage of 888 with an RCE, rebound control efficiency, of 2.56. We could swipe again to see Rebecca's particular stats. Here's goalie number 42. She faced 5 shots. She has a 100% save percentage with an RCE of 240. Let's say this is the end of the game. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my all goalie. All those stats are updated in real time, so as Rebecca continues to make saves, Olivia's numbers won't change, but Rebecca's will. However, all of the rebounds for the entire game will be reflected in the all-game goalie. When a game is complete, let's say here we are at the end of the game, you finalize the game by providing the final score, and that tells the system that the game is over and we are good to generate reports from this data. So to finalize the game, you click the finalize button in the top right-hand side. I'm going to hit the finalize. And that presents you with a screen that gives you an opportunity to input the score. Since the system knows that we had 2 goals scored against Olivia in the game, it's already put those in the system, so you don't have to necessarily worry about the goals scored against your goalie. However, if your team has pulled the goalie in an effort to tie the game or win the game, but the other team scores, obviously you won't record that as a rebound against the goalie. So you do have the opportunity to change the number of goals scored against your team, even though it really isn't a goal against the goalie. So you can change these values at any time. In her case, she was the home team, of course. Their team was awesome. They scored 5 goals, so we'll put that in there for our team. If you also see these other switches, the in overtime and the in a shootout, these switches will be set automatically. If you record rebounds in overtime, that switch will be turned on for you. If you record rebounds in a shootout, that switch will be turned on for you. However, if you're in one of those situations where the game ends with no shots on your goalie, but you won in overtime or you won in a shootout, then you can manually switch those switch settings to indicate that that's how the game ended. Now we're going to go ahead. We've entered the information we want to enter. We're going to hit finalize. and that finalizes a game. And any game that's been finalized is indicated with the little F brackets at the end of the opponent that you played. And at this point, the finalize option has now turned to report, which now you can generate a goalie report from the game itself, and it will give you a report specifically for that game. So here's the goalie game report. We'll just briefly touch on, we were playing for Colorado Select. The opponent we were playing against was the Tigers. We had a 5-2 win. The goalie stats overall are presented up top. So these are the rebounds for the entire game. And then you see the individual reports for the two goalies that participated in the game. Olivia Initially's stats, Rebecca's stats for the games. And using the share button, you can then share this information via PDF or CSV. I'll go ahead and push that little square with the arrow coming out of it. That's the share. That's how you can send it to friends, family, and coaches. And you get the choice of sending it as a PDF report, or if you enjoy mining the data yourself, you can send it to yourself or to a coach via separated values so that they can put it into an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets sheet and mine the data for your own purposes, independent of the application. So that's the report. We're going to bounce back out. We also have trend reports, but of course one game is not enough for a trend report, so I'm going to switch to a different database with a few more games so that I can quickly show you the trend reports. I have switched to a database with a lot more games in it. These are the games I've been recording for the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Now, to access the trend report, all you have to do is tap the line chart at the bottom center of the screen, and that will give you the options for running a trend report. The first option is which report to run. If you tap it, currently there's only the goalie report option available. That will expand in time as we begin to add more reports to the system. But for right now, all you can do and what you'll want to do is select the goalie report. You can then choose which season to use, and this will list, of course, any seasons that you've defined within the system. I'm going to go ahead and choose the Vegas Knights because I've got the most games for them. Next is to choose which goalie you want to report on, and this list will show you each individual goalie that has played in the season that you've selected, as well as including the full game goalie, which is what I'm going to select, because that way I can get all of the stats regardless of which goalie was playing in net. Next is to choose which benchmark you want to run your report for, and you can choose the RCE, or the rebound control efficiency, the rebound risk percentages, or the save percentages as a trend report. I'm going to choose the RCE so we can see the rebound control efficiency for the goalie over the course of the games I've been recording. The last two options are include tournaments. This is where you can choose whether you want to have the games you indicated as part of a tournament included in the trend report or not. And you can also choose whether or not you want to show the color bars, which you'll see in a minute in the RCE report. So I'm going to run the report now by pressing the Run Report button. And this is what a trend report looks like. At the top, you've got the title of the report as well as the name of the goalie you selected. In this case, I chose the full game goalie, so that's what you see up there. The season this report was run for, the benchmark, in this case, rebound control efficiency, and whether or not you included rebound or the tournaments for the report. The next group, the benchmark averages. These are the average reports for goalies. You see the average across these games that are included in the report, the save percentage, the goals against average, the RCE average, and the high and low risk rebound percentages. After that, of course, is the chart itself. And you can see for every single game I've recorded, the RCE recorded for that game plotted against a chart. In this sense, with the RCE, the color bands, as shown in red, yellow, and green, kind of indicate, green indicating that your rebound control is really good. Yellow means you're probably doing all right, but you could use just a little bit of improvement in your rebound control. The red means you need probably some work. You need to kind of work on your rebounds. If you find yourself operating in the red or at the high end of yellow, it's probably a good indication you need to work on your rebound control as a goalie. And so that's the kind of window that the trend report gives you, is to seeing over time how is your goalie trending. Now in this case, the Vegas Knights between Robin and Marc-Andre Fleury have been dabbling sometimes in the green, but kind of largely hovering in the very low yellow area, which is pretty good. And you can use this to see if your goalie is either trending towards the green, which is great. That means that their rebound control, their puck control is improving, or if they're trending up in the red or trending towards the red, then you know you probably need to help your goalie understand they need to work on possessing that puck or controlling and sending that puck to the corners more so than allowing square style rebounds or rebounds to the weak side as much. So that's the trend report. Quickly showing it to you. Like you saw in the game report we did earlier, you can share this report with friends, family, and coaches by hitting the share button in the top right corner. And you can send out this report either as a pretty PDF, which looks exactly like the report you see on screen, or if you want to mine all of the data for each individual, for all of the games, you can export the report as a CSV file and bring that file into your spreadsheet of choice so that you can generate your own benchmarks and key indicators. So that's the trend report. That's the last thing we need to cover in this quick start video for goalie rebound tracking. And hope this was helpful, and hopefully you'll be able to use this to improve and see how your goalie's rebound control is performing so that you can indicate to their coach, or if you're their coach, whether you need to work on their rebound controls. Thanks, and we'll talk to you later.